That night, winter seemed determined to erase the world. Snow fell so heavily that the horizon dissolved into a white haze, and the sound of the wind blended with the cracking of trees struggling to survive. In the middle of that frozen vastness, a small wooden cabin stood alone, hidden deep in the forests of northern Idaho. Its chimney released a thin line of smoke that the wind twisted apart, and inside, Elena Porter fought to keep the fire alive while her 7-year-old son, Liam, slept under a thick blanket beside the warmth of the stove. Since her husband had died 2 winters earlier, Elena had chosen solitude as both refuge and punishment. She believed the silence of the mountain would give her time to rebuild. That distance from the world would be enough to heal. But that night, as the wind slammed against the windows and snow piled up on the roof, something unknown was moving along the road. And nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared her for it. Before we go on, if you believe there are still people capable of doing good in the darkest moments, subscribe to Hell's Road. Every story here reminds us that even in the coldest winter, a spark of humanity can still be lit. Shortly after midnight, 3 knocks thundered against the door. They were dry, deep, too strong to be the wind. Elena froze, her heart suspended. No one lived for miles, and no one in their right mind would be outside in such a storm. The knocks came again, slower this time, almost pleading. She grabbed a flashlight and approached the window. The glass was covered with frost, but through the blizzard she could make out faint, flickering lights in the distance. At first, she thought it might be a stranded vehicle, but then she saw the shapes. They were motorcycles, and behind them, figures trudging through the snow with difficulty. Fear took hold of her body. 12 men in black jackets, helmets in hand, faces burned by the cold. They staggered toward the cabin, exhausted. In an instant, countless stories crossed her mind. Robberies, violence, danger, everything one fears when living far from civilization. The first man to approach had gray hair, a thick beard, and a tired but not hostile look. He raised his hands, showing he carried no weapon, and spoke with a voice roughened by the cold. "Sorry to bother you, ma'am," he said. "Our truck got stuck up on the mountain road. We've got nowhere to stay. We just need a roof until morning." And you, if you had been in Elena's place, would you have opened that door? Tell me in the comments. I want to know what you'd have done. Elena didn't answer. She looked at her son, who was now standing in the hallway with wide eyes. The fire crackled in the chimney, and the wind howled outside. For a moment, she thought about closing the curtains and pretending she hadn't heard a thing. But something, deep, human, unexplainable, pushed her toward the latch. Slowly, without knowing why, she opened the door. The icy air burst in like a slap. The men entered one by one, lowering their heads, silently grateful. The warmth of the fire began to color their pale faces as they removed gloves stiff with frost. The cabin filled with the smell of leather, smoke, and gasoline. Elena moved almost by instinct. She put water to boil, heated canned soup, found bread and instant coffee, while they, in respectful silence, began to help. One sealed the window the wind had loosened. Another fed the fire. Someone stacked wood by the door. In just a few minutes, that cabin, once a symbol of loneliness, had become an improvised shelter held together by cooperation and need. Liam, curious, approached one of the bikers who was carving a piece of wood with his knife. In minutes, the man had shaped a small wolf and handed it to him with a smile. "To watch over you when the wind howls," he said. The boy clutched it in his hands, fascinated. Elena watched the scene, unable to hold back a smile. The gray-bearded man sitting by the door looked up. She offered him a cup of tea. He took it slowly, and after a long silence, murmured with a calm voice, "Thank you." Not many would have opened that door. She looked back at him and said softly, "I suppose there are nights when we all need someone who isn't afraid of us." Isn't it strange how kindness sometimes shows up dressed as fear? Tell me below if you've ever helped someone even when you were scared to do it. Through the long hours that followed, fear melted away between the steam of tea, Liam's laughter, and the crackle of the fire. For the first time in a long time, Elena didn't feel alone. When dawn began to tint the mountains blue, the storm had surrendered. The forest, covered in snow, shimmered under the first light of day. Elena stepped onto the porch, wrapped in a blanket, breathing the frozen air with relief. She thought her guests would soon be gone, but what she saw next left her breathless. From the bottom of the valley, a deep sound began to rise along the road. At first, it was a murmur, then a roar that made the ground tremble. Dozens of motorcycles appeared through the mist, advancing slowly, aligned with almost military precision. They weren't 12 men anymore. There were more than 50, all wearing the same emblem on their backs, a metallic wing crossed by a flame. When they stopped in front of the cabin, silence fell, heavy, solemn. Mason, the gray-bearded man, approached Elena and explained that when someone showed true kindness, his people knew. He said that opening a door in the middle of a snowstorm to save strangers wasn't something ordinary, and they had come to give back what she had offered: warmth, trust, and a reason to believe in something greater than the road. When the sun reached its highest point in the sky, Mason approached Elena and handed her an envelope. Inside was a note written in firm handwriting. "For Liam, so he never feels cold again." Alongside the note lay a stack of bills and a small metal wing, the symbol of their brotherhood. Elena tried to speak, but the words dissolved before they left her lips. Mason looked at her calmly and said that sometimes kindness needs witnesses because it's worthless if kept in silence. Then he put on his helmet, raised his hand, and the roar of engines filled the valley once again. The sound grew louder, stronger, until it faded among the snow-covered trees. Elena stood still on the porch, watching the fog close behind them. Liam ran out and tugged on her coat. "Mom, were they angels?" he asked. She looked at him tenderly and replied without thinking, Maybe they were, son, angels of metal. Silence returned to the forest. The fire still burned inside, and the smoke from the chimney rose straight into the sky, as if the house were breathing for the first time in years. That night, while Liam slept holding the little wooden wolf, Elena realized that miracles don't always come with wings or divine light. Sometimes they arrive wearing worn boots, smelling of gasoline, with hands hardened by the road. She understood that it's not the world that freezes, but the hearts that stop opening their doors. And when someone dares to open them, even once, winter stops being frightening. And you? How many times have you closed a door out of fear? Maybe next time, the miracle will be the one knocking. Because kindness, when it finds shelter, multiplies. And sometimes, one open door is enough to turn the cold into hope. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe to Hell's Road, where every week we ignite a new spark of humanity among dust and steel. Share this video with someone who still believes in second chances, because sometimes one gesture is enough to make us believe in people again. And if you want to carry the spirit of the road with you, visit our official store. You'll find clothing and accessories inspired by real stories of redemption, courage, and freedom. We'll see you on the next ride. And remember, even in the coldest darkness, there's always an engine waiting to roar back to life.